$112,000 for Bitcoin as a brand new all-time high, ladies and gents. Shout out to those of you that have stuck around through all of the shit in the space to get here. Obviously, just earlier when we first got this big pump, we were live when the market had a little bit of a dip here, and obviously everything was looking completely fine. And right now, Bitcoin is following through with this all-time high breakout very, very well. Now, there's a little bit of talk about this happening while the stock market is crashing. First of all, this is not a crash. Let's please not get our panties twisted up again over such silly novel, not even novel, it's not novel, over such silly small issues. It's a little 2% drop, and I mean, shit, it happens, okay? It's like quite normal. And actually, I think the fact that Bitcoin has actually managed to muster up this much strength after the close for the S&P 500, obviously this is going to open up pretty soon in about 7 hours. I think that we're probably looking at a situation here in this market where the S&P is probably going to be trading pretty well when things open again. Gold on a little bit of a dip, so that kind of lines up with all of that. And then, Bitcoin itself, I mean, what can you say, right? We're in blue sky breakout territory now. These are price levels that Bitcoin has never seen before. And that means we're going to be following blue sky territory breakout rules. And those are pretty straightforward. You're typically just going to be expecting that you top out at kind of psychological round numbers. So no surprise, we're, stuck a little bit at the 110K level right now. And then also, some fib extensions and stuff like that, if that's the kind of thing that you like to do. I don't really use them, but I know that a lot of people do like them. But, as far as this goes right now, this is looking pretty sick to me right now, ladies and gents. Bitcoin's dominance is holding pretty well at about 64.2. Ethereum against Bitcoin kind of showing you what the rest of the market is doing. We're getting a little bit of activity across, here's Solana just managing to kind of get above some of these ranges. Now, this is actually a really good chart for Solana because we're essentially now, I mean, if I take a different chart for you guys to kind of analyze what Solana is doing, and you're probably going to see a couple other coins kind of doing the same thing, but I just want to show this to you on Solana because, it's just in front of me and it's a chart that I'm familiar with right now. Solana essentially has had some sort of kind of sideways range that looks a little bit like this, I would say. And, we've had a number of kind of fake outs below the level now, especially obviously this big one here. But the fact that we're kind of returning back into the range, I think, is a really big deal for bulls to kind of feel confident about where things could be going. And obviously that's going to be just, a reaction to Bitcoin, right? I mean, Bitcoin is going up, so these coins are being pulled up a little bit. For the most part, obviously, we're seeing that value kind of float back into Bitcoin as a result of, obviously, Bitcoin moving up. We expect Bitcoin's dominance to kind of continue up, at least for now, right? I've been saying for a while that I think alt season is actually closer than most people think right now. I think most people are quite apathetic towards alts, but I mean, they've essentially, a lot of the good ones have now rallied multiple times over, like they've pulled a 2, 3, 4x or more from their lows, and which means that from a technical perspective, it's like, it's at least, I'm not saying that it's like ready and that things are going to be amazing now, but it is at least time from a technical perspective to start sitting up and paying attention. And I think that's a really important kind of nuanced point there that, obviously most people are going to be missing because they're not particularly nuanced or complex in the way that they do their analysis. But, you are going to be kind of sitting up and paying attention here. But actually, the reality for a lot of the market, for a lot of retail right now is apathy. It's sadness. It's anger. It's, disbelief. It's, all of these other more negative things rather than, oh, yeah, Bitcoin is up and other coins are up and monetary policy is looking like it's going to start getting better. And, all the other facts that are facts in this market, it just seems like these things are kind of getting ignored by retail right now. So, like if I'm looking for a sign to tell me that an alt season is around the corner, then here it is. I mean, it doesn't really get particularly better or clearer than this. So, definitely an important factor there. Bringing it back to just the standard Bitcoin chart, obviously, if Bitcoin does try to kind of pull off some retracements here, we've now managed to kind of build a little bit more distance from the all-time high to this kind of small sideways range here at about 103. That's now going to be about a 7.5% drop, which I think is a really nice, healthy drop if Bitcoin were to do something quickly. Let's say that, throughout the course of the day, we see a kind of quick flash crash. I would definitely think that, kind of 103 would be a, kind of level that Bitcoin might want to kind of come down to. We're probably, I'm just imagining this, but we're probably seeing a lot of support over here. And yes, of course we are. A ton of support here right now from the Ichimoku cloud if Bitcoin were to kind of fall down. Right now, like at the current time, this is probably going to be stretching between about 99.5 to 102. But this does move all the way up to 102.7 to 106.7. So definitely, aggressively moving up there pretty quickly, which is very, very cool. As far as the EMAs go, I'd like to kind of look at the momentum and what that picture is showing me in the market. We've got a ton of support, but yeah, slightly lower. I'm not too interested in the 4-hour time frame right now. I feel like the daily time frame is going to be a lot more important for EMA support, and it lines up with the same level as our 4-hour Ichimoku, which is of course pretty common, pretty standard. You would expect that to happen, but obviously we've left a lot of good stuff beneath us if the market wants to pull back now, and I totally welcome it. I always welcome pullbacks, as you know very, very well. I like them. I don't get emotional about them. I'm not here to be emotional. I'm here to make money, believe it or not. So obviously, if I'm here to make money, then that directly kind of opposes any ideas about getting emotional about this market. And I like that about myself. I think that we should all kind of aim to be like that as much as we can. So I think that's pretty cool. Obviously, there's going to be some support lower, kind of 95, 96, whatever. These are going to be important levels as well. Look, I don't really think it's important to talk about them if we don't lose 100, 100K. We've now got essentially, 12% headroom above 100K now, which means that, a standard kind of, pretty deep, I don't want to say pretty deep, but like, meaningful correction would usually be, about 10%, right? Like that 12% is like a pretty nice kind of, beginner level correction. Anything less than that, and I would probably say that it's more of a fluctuation rather than, a correction. But it depends, right? Like if it takes time, then there's two ways the market corrects, right? The first way is time, which means you just go sideways, and the second one is price, right? But you might not move particularly much in price, but you might move for a long time in time, right? And that's still going to count because it's pain. When the market is moving very slowly, you're going to feel pain over that. So I would count that as a correction. So 12% pretty reasonable, and that's now putting our kind of beginner level kind of corrections at some pretty nice price levels. I mean, I don't know what you want me to say. Like it's a good level to be seeing Bitcoin kind of potentially have as support at this stage. I mean, it's really. It's good. Like, we don't need to be traumatized. I think this is kind of one of the bigger things I'm saying right now is we don't need to be traumatized in this market right now. It's not necessary. Things are actually looking pretty good. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say that. The charts are looking good. We've had a lot of corrections. We've had heavy price-based corrections, heavy time-based corrections. We've got the S&P 500 having fully backtested its previous all-time high and now basically knocking on the door of its most recent all-time high. You're allowed to recognize that things are good. I understand that there's a lot of trauma for people, and that's why we're getting all these, I think they're silly theories of, Bitcoin coming down to 50K at this point. I think that these are purely reactionary to, people just being, absolutely burnt the fuck out from the market, which I totally understand, but, we don't need to live like that. Now, I want to show you something really cool. This platform right here, 𝗙𝗡𝗋𝒋, is a very, very cool platform here. By the way, they've got everything that you're used to as far as kind of like, proof of reserves and everything like that. They've got great liquidity, but what makes these guys really interesting is the fact that they've actually got a social feature. I don't know if I can show it to you right here, but maybe I can put something. I'm probably not going to overlay it for this one because I'm just spinning this video out super quick. But they've got a social feature where you're actually going to be getting exclusive kind of updates and insights on trade setups and stuff like that the ForFlies team is looking at. That's going to be posted right here on 𝗙𝗋𝒋, but only for people that have actually kind of signed up and gotten started on this exchange using our link in the description. So check it out. It's linked pretty close to the top of the description right now, and a very robust exchange, very much like what you're used to, just with the kind of super cool added benefit that I get to share, my team gets to share, you know, cool stuff with you guys right here on this platform. So check it out if you're interested. We'll be talking about them a little bit more in future videos as well. But super, super cool stuff. Obviously, hit up those likes, subscribe, and tick the bell, do all that good stuff if you have enjoyed this one. For the most part, it's a case of watching this and seeing how high she wants to go and looking for retracement levels, okay? I think retracement levels are going to be the next kind of actionable thing that, you know, we can look at as traders in the market. The good news is that many of these coins haven't really moved yet, right? Like, here's Trump, more or less where it was, you know, like yesterday, and a lot of coins are broadly kind of in those same kind of regions right now. Maybe they've been pulled up a little bit by Bitcoin, but for the most part, they've kind of stayed still, which is really, really good news for us, because it means that some quite kind of exciting opportunities are potentially around the corner, and we might not have to take ridiculous amounts of risk to even benefit from them, which I'm also, you know, personally super excited for. So lots more to be watching. We'll be keeping you updated right here on this channel. You know what to do if you want to stay tuned to that. And like I said, exclusive stuff that you guys are going to be getting on Levex as far as kind of posts from the team. So stuff that we're not going to be posting anywhere else. And obviously, you know, they've got these very cool aggressive bonuses right here where you can get a ton of free cash to kind of trade with and stuff like that when you do get signed up using this link. So check it all out if you are interested. Hope you've enjoyed this one. You know what to do. And we'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.